Kent, a county of rolling countryside, ancient woodlands, and picturesque villages that seem frozen in time. Here, between the gentle hills and winding country lanes, a story would unfold that would shatter the peaceful facade of rural life. Chillenden, a tiny hamlet nestled in the heart of East Kent, where time seems to move slowly and tranquility reigns supreme. Population barely reaching a few hundred, it's the kind of place where everyone knows each other, where doors are often left unlocked, and where the loudest sound might be the chirping of birds or the distant bleating of sheep. The country lanes here tell stories of their own, narrow ribbons of asphalt winding between lush green fields, bordered by dense hedgerows and ancient trees. Sunlight dapples through the branches, creating a patchwork of light and shadow. These roads have witnessed countless journeys, farmers heading to fields, children cycling to school, families out for weekend drives. But on one particular summer day, this peaceful landscape would become a crime scene, a location that would be etched into the collective memory of the community. A place where an unthinkable act would shatter the illusion of safety. The surrounding countryside, with its hidden corners, dense woodland, and isolated stretches, would become more than just a backdrop. It would become a silent witness to a crime that would send shockwaves through the entire region. Little did the residents know that their quiet corner of the world was about to be thrust into the national spotlight, that these peaceful lanes would soon become synonymous with one of the most haunting criminal cases in recent British history. Michael John Goodban came into this world on the 7th of June 1960, born in Royal Tunbridge Wells, Kent. From the very beginning, his life was shrouded in uncertainty. His birth certificate listed an Ivor Goodban as his father, but whispers of doubt surrounded even this basic fact of his existence. Family was a complicated concept for young Michael. He viewed Peter Stone as his true father, though both potential father figures denied any connection to him. This early rejection would become a fracture in the foundation of his young life, a wound that would never fully heal. Home was not a sanctuary, but a battlefield. Domestic violence became a constant companion, transforming what should have been a safe space into a place of fear and tension. Before he was even a teenager, Michael had witnessed scenes that would traumatize most adults, including a shocking moment where his mother's partner attacked another man with a meat cleaver. At just 9 years old, Michael's descent began. Drugs entered his world, and criminal activities became his escape. By age 12, he had already caught the attention of local law enforcement, the beginning of a lengthy and troubled relationship with the justice system. The care system, meant to protect him, became another source of pain. Instead of providing safety, it exposed him to further abuse. A young boy beaten with a hammer, surrounded by violence and instability, was slowly being shaped into a person capable of extraordinary darkness. Mood swings and uncontrolled outbursts became his signature. Each experience, each moment of rejection, violence, and pain was like a brick being added to a wall of anger and resentment. The world had shown him little mercy, and he would soon show the world little mercy in return. By his late teens, Michael was deeply entrenched in a world of drugs and crime. Heroin became both his escape and his prison, with an addiction that would eventually cost £1,500 a week. Prison sentences became a revolving door, 3 separate terms for robbery, assault, and violent crimes. Weapons became his companions. Knives, guns, even ammonia in a lemon bottle. Michael Stone was becoming a figure of fear in the criminal underworld of Kent's Medway towns. The seeds of what was to come were being planted. With each violent act, with each prison sentence, with each moment of rage, Michael Stone was becoming something more than just a troubled young man. He was becoming a name that would one day send shivers down the spines of an entire community. On the 9th of July, 1996, a peaceful country lane in Chillenden would become the scene of an unthinkable tragedy. A family's simple walk home would turn into a moment that would haunt an entire community. Lynn Russell, 45 years old, was walking with her 2 daughters, 9-year-old Josie and 6-year-old Megan, along with their beloved dog Lucy. They were returning from a swimming gala, likely chatting and enjoying the warm summer afternoon, completely unaware that danger was about to dramatically intersect their lives. The attack was swift and brutal. A man emerged from a parked car, wielding a claw hammer. In a terrifying 15-minute ordeal, he confronted the family, demanding money. When Lynn explained they had none, the situation rapidly escalated. The attacker tied up the 3 victims. Megan and Lynn were blindfolded, their sense of safety and security completely destroyed. Josie was tied to a tree, separated from her mother and sister, The predator's actions were calculated, methodical, and horrifyingly precise. When the violence subsided, the landscape of this family was forever changed. Lynn and Megan, along with their dog Lucy, had been physically harmed beyond recovery, but Josie, miraculously, survived. The investigation would quickly become one of the most complex and controversial in Kent's history. Witnesses came forward with crucial information. A woman driving nearby reported seeing an angry man hurriedly leaving the junction. Another witnessed a person holding a claw hammer, looking agitated. Forensic evidence was frustratingly limited. A blood-stained bootlace, unidentified hairs, a fingerprint on a lunchbox that didn't match any known suspects. The scene told a story, but not a complete one. The community was gripped by fear, a predator walked free, and no one knew when or where he might strike again. Little did they know that the key to solving this mystery was already in their midst. Michael Stone, a man with a history of violence, mental health challenges, and a criminal past, was about to become the center of an investigation that would challenge everything people thought they knew about justice. July 1997 would mark a turning point. A television reconstruction on the Crime Watch program would become the catalyst that would finally bring Michael Stone into the crosshairs of justice. Medical professionals who had previously worked with Stone stepped forward with chilling testimony. A psychiatrist recalled Stone's increasingly aggressive threats. Just days before the attacks, Stone had been making terrifying proclamations, talking about torturing people, fantasizing about harming children, walking in woods with violent intentions. Stone's own words painted a disturbing picture. He had reportedly told psychiatric staff that he felt like harming children when passing them, that he was angry at the world and was going to do something bad. His mental state was volatile, unpredictable, and deeply concerning. Friends added their own pieces to the puzzle. One reported Stone wearing blood-soaked clothes on the day of the attacks. Another claimed he looked remarkably similar to the suspect in the Crime Watch reconstruction. When arrested, Stone's defense was remarkably thin. He claimed he couldn't remember his whereabouts on the day of the attacks, blaming his extensive drug use. A receipt placed him 40 miles away at a cash converter's, but investigators believed he could have traveled to the crime scene. The first trial in 1998 hinged on something extraordinary: prison confessions. 3 prisoners testified that Stone had admitted involvement in the crimes. Damian Daly claimed Stone had confessed to him through a heating pipe in their adjacent cells. The jury deliberated for nearly 15 hours. With a 10-2 majority, they found Stone guilty. But this was just the beginning of a legal saga that would stretch for years. Within 24 hours of the first trial, cracks began to appear. One key witness, Barry Thompson, admitted he had lied about Stone's confession. Another, Mark Jennings, was found to have been paid by a newspaper for his testimony. The legal journey was far from straightforward. In February 2001, the Court of Appeal ordered a retrial, a decision that would keep everyone on edge. 2 of the 3 prisoners who had provided key testimony against Stone had their evidence discredited. Barry Thompson had outright admitted to lying. Mark Jennings was found to have been paid by a newspaper, compromising the reliability of his statement. Yet remarkably, Stone was convicted a second time. The jury took even less time to reach their verdict compared to the first trial. The courtroom became a theater of intrigue, with the jury even visiting the prison cells where the alleged confession had taken place. Stone's legal team remained persistent. In 2004, they sought another appeal, arguing that the testimony of Damian Daly, the primary witness in the original conviction, was fundamentally unreliable. The appeal was rejected in 2005. A judge remained unpersuaded by the evidence Stone's lawyers presented. On 21 December 2006, a high court judge made a significant decision. Stone would spend at least 25 years in prison before being considered for parole. The case continued to intrigue and divide people. Stone's sister, who had initially believed in his potential guilt, began to doubt the conviction. His legal team explored alternative theories, even suggesting another notorious criminal, Levi Belfield, might be responsible. Belfield himself would later make controversial claims about the murders, but these were repeatedly dismissed by investigators and his own partner, who insisted he was with her on the day of the attacks. The Criminal Cases Review Commission, CCRC, conducted multiple reviews, consistently finding no new evidence to overturn the conviction. Each review seemed to close another potential avenue of appeal. In the aftermath of the conviction, a deeper investigation began, not into the crime itself, but into the system that might have prevented it. An inquiry led by Sir Robert Francis QC delved into Stone's mental health care, uncovering a complex web of systemic failures. Just 5 days before the tragic events, Stone had made aggressive threats to his probation officer and criminal justice staff. His mental state was a ticking time bomb that few seemed equipped to defuse. The inquiry's findings were nuanced. While they identified care failures, they were careful not to paint the entire system as negligent. Sir Robert emphasized that this was not a case of a dangerous individual being completely ignored by agencies. But not everyone was satisfied. Sean Russell, the father of the surviving victim Josie, disagreed with the report's conclusion that the murders could have been prevented. The case sparked a significant political response. Alan Milburn, then Health Secretary, proposed reforms to the Mental Health Act 1983. The existing treatability test had a critical flaw. Individuals with certain personality disorders, like Stone, could not be detained because their conditions were not considered treatable. The proposed changes were radical. They would allow the government to potentially detain individuals who had not yet committed a crime, a concept that was described as draconian by some social justice organizations. Ultimately, these discussions would lead to the Mental Health Act 2007, a significant piece of legislation that changed how the system approached individuals with complex mental health conditions. The story of Michael Stone continues to resonate through the halls of justice. In 2021, a new chapter opened when Kent police relocated the mysterious bootlace from the crime scene, a piece of evidence that had been mislaid for years. Stone's defense team immediately requested DNA analysis, hoping modern technology might reveal new truths. The case remains a subject of intense debate. Some legal experts who participated in the 2017 BBC Two documentary, The Chillenden Murders, expressed significant doubts about the conviction. Two prominent figures, defense barrister Stephen Kamlish, QC, and legal expert Cheryl Nwosu, began working to have the case re-examined. The shadows of doubt have only deepened with time. Recent developments in 2023 saw the CCRC conducting fresh reviews and performing new forensic testing on evidence using techniques that didn't exist during Stone's original conviction. But perhaps the most profound aspect of this case lies not in the legal proceedings, but in its lasting impact on British society. It sparked crucial reforms in mental health legislation, challenged the reliability of prison confessions, and forced us to confront uncomfortable questions about justice and certainty. The quiet lanes of Chillenden may have returned to their peaceful state, but the echoes of that summer day in 1996 continue to resonate. For some, Stone's conviction brought closure. For others, it raised more questions than answers. The case of Michael Stone serves as a reminder that justice isn't always black and white. Sometimes it lives in the gray areas, where truth and perception blur, where evidence and doubt dance an eternal waltz. As new forensic techniques emerge and fresh eyes examine old evidence, one question remains. Will we ever know the complete truth about what happened on that fateful summer day? Or will the mystery of Chillenden continue to haunt us, a reminder that some stories resist neat endings and simple conclusions? The final chapter of this story may yet remain unwritten.